So I want to ask you a few questions. When was the last time you wrote a cover letter? Do you always submit a cover letter whenever you apply for a job? If it says that cover letters are optional, are you going to submit one? If you don't always submit a cover letter, why do you not submit one? You see, I often find that most people don't submit cover letters. And the reasons that they don't are varied, ranging from it wasn't required, they didn't ask for it, there was no place for me to upload it, I don't know how to write one, nobody reads them anyway. But the truth is, and I'm going to talk about this in a bit, employers still want cover letters. And if you're not submitting a cover letter with your resume and your references, well, you're missing a huge tool that is important in helping you land an interview and getting a job. And so today we're going to talk about cover letters and writing a cover letter and how to structure a cover letter, but also to simplifying what a cover letter is, what it does, and how you can write one on the fly so that each time you apply for a job, you have a fantastic cover letter customized for that job that you're pulling in and submitting along with your application. So, welcome to Writing a Cover Letter. My name is Greg Brightbill, and I'm excited that you're listening in. So, interestingly, I mentioned earlier that a moment ago that cover letters, most people don't submit cover letters. And research shows this is true. In fact, when a cover letter is not required, only 35% of people submit them, 65% don't. And when a cover letter is required, still, even so, only 38% of people submit a cover letter. So, required or not even required, the majority of people, when they apply for a job, do not submit a cover letter. And that's interesting because employers show that cover letters are still essential. 77% of recruiters give preference to people who submit cover letters. Just by submitting one, you are putting yourself ahead. And even if a cover letter is optional, employers still want to see them. And why? Well, even if somebody hasn't submitted a cover letter, it's like missing a portion of your application. 83% of HR professionals still say that cover letters are important. And of course they are. Because even if your resume isn't very good, research shows that 83% of employers will still bring you on for an interview just because you submitted a cover letter. Now, a cover letter really serves as a key component in your application process because it is the only part that says who you are as a person. It's everything that you are. It's your friendly hello. It gives you an opportunity to introduce yourself. Now, what is a cover letter's main purpose? You can see here. Really, a cover letter is just a personal introduction. It's the same thing if you were just writing a letter to a person, or you're emailing somebody saying, hey, I'm applying for this job. I just wanted to follow up and tell you a little bit about myself. And because a cover letter is personable, it's a letter. It establishes that connection between you and the employer. Also, a good cover letter showcases your writing ability. Often we find a lot of positions require a level of writing competency where you have to be able to write, evaluate things, use emailing, and a good cover letter shows that you are a strong writer. Also, with a cover letter, it complements your resume. Now, this is something that I talk to people a lot. A cover letter should not repeat what's on the resume. Instead, It should introduce your resume and highlight some really important things that you want somebody to look at. So thinking of your cover letter, you want to think of it almost like the opening page of a book. So let's take a book. Your application is like the entire book. From interviewing you, where they learn about who you are and hear about the many things you've done in your career, to possibly the references you have at the end, saying great things about you. A cover letter is like that opening page. You know, when you open a book and you have a summary, and in this, it doesn't tell you what's exactly inside the book, but it introduces the book, gets you interested in it. Because a cover letter, like a book, a cover letter gets somebody to want to read what's inside. When I write a cover letter, I don't tell them that I have experience in certain jobs. I don't tell them I currently do this, and then before that I did this job, and I did this job for a little bit for 5 years. Instead, I say who I am, and that I introduce myself as an exciting opportunity for them to open up and read. So, when you think of a cover letter, you have to view it as your opportunity to get them interested in you. A cover letter gets them to say, ooh, I want to talk to this person. I like them. I want to offer them an interview. So a cover letter is still very much an important aspect because it helps you build that connection and gets them to like you, want to talk to you, and to give you a job. Now, when you're thinking of a cover letter, you really want to build it with two major components. I call them the why them and the why you. So, the why them. Why them? Why do you want to work for them? What about that organization interests you? Their values? Their uniqueness? Are they one of a kind? What about their culture? Their purpose? What do they do? You see, when you research an organization, you need to be finding out the unique qualities of that organization. What makes them special? Because once you know these special characteristics of that organization, you're going to want to do the why you. What do you bring to that table? What qualifications do you have? What major achievements? What specific skills do you have that complement the organization? And what perks do you bring in? Because with the why them and the why you, once you have those two components in a cover letter, you put them together. So let's say, for example, I research an organization and I find that they are passionate about helping people and the community. Let's say I'm looking to work at the Community Engagement Center at the University of Maryland, Baltimore. Well, what's unique about them is that they are a community-focused office, working with West Baltimore, building partnerships. And then the why you, why would I work there? Well, I have experience working in nonprofits. I'm passionate about helping people. I have experience serving on the board of directors of a nonprofit. So I've taken the why them and the why me and put it together. And that's how you build a good cover letter. So to be able to effectively understand the why them, why you, you're going to have to do some preliminary research on the organization. And you're going to use this information as you write your cover letter. So the first thing that I would always tell you to do is learn as much as you can about the organization through their website. Do a deep dive. So go into their organization's website and find out what their mission statement is. What is their vision statement? What are their values? What media do they have on their website? And what strategic planning have they done? You see, with the mission, vision, values, media, and strategic planning, you're going to learn a lot about the organization so that you know what they're doing, who they are. What, if you had to boil down that organization, what is their key driving factors? Because you're going to need that when you give your why you. So through the organization's website, you're going to really be able to develop that starting foundation of your understanding of who they are. And then you're going to want to do a little bit more of a dive into their social media. And so go find their social media, like their social media, follow their social media, and learn what you can about the organization through what is said online. And so look at their LinkedIn. What have they posted? What have they shared? Look up their Facebook. See who they're connected to. What do they follow? Find their Twitter. Have they tweeted anything? Another important factor of social media, especially LinkedIn, is that it's going to tell you not only about the organization, but it's going to give you information about who works there. And so this gives you a great opportunity to find out about those people. So if they have a leader, that's a visionary leader, find out who their leader is. Find out who the hiring manager, find out what other people are saying about the organization on social media. Next, you want to find out not only who they are, but who they are by who they compete against. Often knowing who the competitors are is going to give you insight on how you can leverage the why you connected to the why them. So who is their most significant competitor? What does that competitor do well? What does the competitor do better than this organization? Or what do they do worse? Where are their competitors? By knowing who their competitors are, you're going to be able to better build a profile of who they are and why they need you to be ahead of the curve. And then finally, learn about the team that you're going to be working with. Now, you've already done this, hopefully, when you looked up their social media. But now you want to do a smaller, more focused dive on the team or the position that you'll be working with and who's around you. So learn about the team. If it's academic, what publications have they recently wrote? Do they have any awards? Things that they've done very well? What projects is that team specifically working on at this exact moment? And why are you excited about the opportunity of jumping on board to work on that project? And then finally, learn a little bit about the team. Also write down their credentials. Find out where they went to school. If you maybe went to that same school or you have a connection with it. And then also, if you're applying to jobs in an academic setting, you're going to want to know what their post-nominal letters are so that you can use the correct honorifics. Now, the structure of a cover letter is pretty standard. You have the name, the address, the date. You have the information about the organization, the name of the hiring person or whoever be supervising you, their title, their organization, the address, a greeting introductory paragraph, a body paragraph, closing paragraph, salutation, sincerely, and your name. Now in the opening paragraph, this is really important because you're introducing yourself to them. They say first impressions are everything, and that is why the opening paragraph is essential, because you're introducing yourself and getting them invested in reading the rest of your cover letter. If the first two sentences don't catch their attention, what's to motivate them to keep reading? So in the opening paragraph, you're probably going to want to state the position you're applying for, where you found it. If maybe there's a person that you know and you can name drop them, that's always a great thing. And then possibly anything that you have to hook them. So maybe a connection, a story, an anecdote, something that makes you interesting. Now, if you're applying to an academic position or a research position, you may have the academic introduction as well. Now, this is not always required. You often see this really only in jobs that require researchers or PhDs or academic related, so for professors. Now in the academic introduction, you're going to state the college you are attending, your degree, possibly any classes you've completed or taught in, and then any other relevant academic information. But again, the academic introduction is not required for everybody. It really depends on if you're trying to get a job in an academic setting. The body section, the body paragraph, this is where you build that why them, why you. You want to really intertwine those two together in this section. And the way you do that is you connect your skills, your characteristics, your experiences, your qualifications to that organization. You also want to highlight what interests you in working for this organization. So based on your research, let's say, for example, if you find a position and the organization says that they're really passionate about sustainability. Well, in the body paragraph, you would say, I'm very interested in the fact that you're focused on sustainability. And let's say you volunteer pretty regularly at a nonprofit that focuses on green energy. So you're building that connection of the why them, that they like green energy, and the why you. Well, you have experience working in nonprofits focusing on sustainability and green energy, and you're combining it together in the body paragraph. What you don't want to do in the body paragraph is repeat what you're going to be showing in your resume. And I would often say is in your body and even in your introduction, you're only going to really want to tell them possibly where you currently work and the current job. You're not really going to want to go through, well, you did this job from this date to this date, and then you did this one to this date, and then you did this for a little bit too, and then back when you were in high school, you also worked at a grocery store and you also did that. That is not necessary. It's going to be in your resume or CV. Again, in the body, it's short and succinct of connecting the why them, the why you, putting it together. And then in the conclusion, it's very simple. You're going to just conclude. You want to maybe repeat any very, very, very important factors of why you'd be a good candidate for this position or why they should hire you. I often tell people make sure that you try to use language that communicates desire of them hiring you. And so not, I hope to hear from you soon, of I look forward to hearing from you soon. Or when we speak, I will share with you more information about why I am a strong candidate for this position. Or when I work for your organization, you will be satisfied in knowing that I am a leader. And you're going to want to use language like that. You're also going to want to reiterate any key points. And then you're going to wrap up with some information possibly related to you. I don't often think it's necessary for you to put your email address or your phone number in your conclusion section, because hopefully you've included that in your information at the top of your resume where you state your name, your address, your email, your phone number. And then finally, end the letter somewhat formally. A good sincerely is always perfect. So what does this look like? Okay, so I don't know how many of you are fans of Star Wars, but I'm going to use this Star Wars letter and I'm going to try to click along and show you some of the different sections and how it plays out. So one thing that's important on this, find my mouse and my pen, make it red. So right here, this is a letter from Luke Skywalker to Jabba the Hutt. For those of you that remember some of the original trilogies, you would know that, well, Luke has to go get Han Solo after he was frozen in kryptonite. Not kryptonite, whatever, he's frozen in something. Star Wars fans, don't hate me. And so he seeks an appointment with Jabba the Hutt. So here is his cover letter. Greetings, Exalted One. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight, and friend of Captain Solo. I seek an audience with your greatness to bargain for Solo's life. While I grew up on Tatooine, I am now returning from Dagobah, where I studied under Jedi Master Yoda. I know that you are powerful, mighty Jabba, and that your anger with Solo must be equally powerful. With your wisdom, I'm sure that we can work out an arrangement which would be mutually beneficial and enable us to avoid any unpleasant confrontation. As a token of my goodwill, I bring to you a gift. These 2 droids. Both are hardworking and will serve you well. As a Jedi, I only seek to maintain balance in the Force, and I assure you that our meeting will be mutually beneficial. I look forward to meeting you at your palace. Signed, Luke Skywalker. Now what I want you to do is to pause. And I want you to find the intro the body, if there's an academic intro, and the conclusion. Do that. So now you've hopefully done an overview of this. And so I'm going to go through with you. So first and foremost, it is Exalted One. So this sounds like an honored title. If there is a special title, he's not writing to whom it may concern. He's using Exalted One as a proper noun related to Jabba the Hutt. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Luke Skywalker. So this is that intro section stating who he is, and also current positions. And look, name dropping, a friend of Han Solo. Got a name drop. And then the purpose of the cover letter. Always include the purpose of your cover letter. Well, the purpose of this one, it's to seek an audience with your greatness, to bargain for Solo's life. Similarly, it could be to get a job with you, Jabba. I want to work for you. But this one, to seek an audience with your greatness. And bargain for Solo's life. Now, this is the intro. Now, the academic introduction is located here. And so in this section, let's say he's applying to a job with Jabba, specifically a research position on how many parsecs it takes to do the Kestrel run. Because there's actually quite a bit of differences in what people say how long it would take. So he's saying, well, originally I grew up on Tatooine. I grew up there, but I went to Dagobah, and I actually learned and studied under Jedi Master Yoda. And so this is an academic introduction, telling Jabba the Hutt, well, this is where I've learned, this is where I went to school, this is my teacher. Now the body, so this is the body. Not right with my mouse. The body section has the why, them, the why. So the why them, the why me. So in this, he's saying, hey, listen, I know you're very powerful. This is, a little bit of ego stroking, which is always good in a good cover letter, by the way. And I know that you're probably upset, but with your wisdom, I think we can work out an arrangement which will be mutually beneficial. Okay, well, this is the connecting the why you to the why me, the why them, the why you. So the organization to you as a candidate, building it together. Also saying, well, we're going to also avoid unpleasant confrontation. And so again, confrontation's bad. You don't want confrontation. You need me. And then even that gift. So what does this person bring? Well, Luke Skywalker brings to the table these gifts of 2 droids. How awesome is that? Well, you really want to hire him now because he brings goodies. He brings help. He brings droids. Very valuable. And then finally, in the conclusion of just reaffirming some of the information, of course, as a Jedi, again, maybe stating that, it's a key thing. I only seek to maintain balance in the Force, and I assure you that our meeting will be mutually beneficial. Again, saying, this is a key point in the body section. And I look forward to meeting you at your palace. Ooh, that's very good language. It's not I hope maybe you'll make some time for me. It's, I look forward to meeting with you at your palace. So, very succinct. And then signed Luke Skywalker. So this is a great cover letter. This is a great example also of a good cover letter's length. You do not want your cover letter to be very long. Short and simple with key points connecting the why them, the why you. That's all you really want. So, final things that I want you to remember. The first thing is remember how important it is that you include the why you and the why them. If that is all you take from this workshop and listening to me is the why you, the why them, that is the best part. So again, you're going to want to highlight your experiences because you're trying to showcase why you are the best candidate for them. You want to emphasize your interest in their organization. You showcase your interest in how well you've researched their organization. You're building that so that they almost feel like they have to hire you because you're such a perfect fit. Another thing that I want you to remember is style. So the style of your cover letter, this is very important. Okay? Make sure that you match the tone of the organization. Remember that it's narrative, so it's first person, so you're talking, I was excited to hear about your opportunity. I'm excited applying for this job. You also want to make sure that you look at how the cover letter is structured so that it matches how the organization speaks. And so you're going to find out probably how the organization speaks in their style through their website and their social media. You're going to want to try to mirror that a little bit. You can also incorporate words that are hot words within the industry, things that they say a lot or in the job description, and you're going to include that in your cover letter. Next, consistency. Use a consistent format for your cover letter. You want a simple design. I would also say, look at how you format your resume or your CV, and then use that same formatting. So the same font. When I say the same colors, I mean black or dark grays. So simple colors. And you also want to make sure that you don't switch. I've seen many cover letters where I can tell somebody copy and pasted a section, and the only reason I know that is because the font changes halfway through. Another important thing is in your consistency, make sure that your cover letter is structured well. It's organized well, because you want it to be consistent in how they read it. Next, the length of it. It is, when I say no longer than 1 page, I mean really half a page double spaced. Very, very, very short. I've seen cover letters that are like size 8 font for a page, and it's like reading somebody's magnum opus. It's like reading their autobiography. Now, unless the position stipulates for it, like let's say, for example, they want you to write an essay or your philosophies, some academic institutions or positions that are tenure track may want to learn about your teaching philosophies. Now, unless they ask for you to write an essay for them, your cover letter needs to be succinct and short. 3, maybe 5 paragraphs, each paragraph's 3 to 4, maybe 5 sentences. Very, very short. You want it really to be about size 12 font. The font you want to use is a sans serif, so that means this is a sans serif font. Let me see if I can see one. So this is sans serif, meaning it doesn't have any of that little flare at the end of the letters. It's very simple and easy to read. And you just want it to be double spaced so that they can read it easily and it catches their interest. And then finally, you want to customize your cover letter. And so make sure that it is original to this organization. You don't want to be submitting a templated cover letter to whom it may concern. I'm applying to this job, Associate Director for Academic Affairs, and because I have these skills in blank, and I'm excited to work for the University of Maryland, Baltimore. I hope to hear from you soon. So when cover letters are not customized and it's a copy and paste, you can really feel it. Now, here's the thing that I want you to know and to rest assured. As you write more and more cover letters, you're going to start developing a plethora of original cover letters that you can then pull from. So let's say you're applying to a job and it's somewhat similar and you look and you're like, wow, it's another organization. Let's say I mentioned earlier you're applying for an organization that was passionate about sustainability, and you apply to this other job because maybe you're passionate about sustainability. And this other organization is also passionate about sustainability. So you can copy portions from that first cover letter to the second one. But at the end of the day, you need to make sure that they know that you did research and you looked into them as an organization and that you were able to put the pieces together well. So these are some key things that I want you to remember. As I said before, cover letters are much scarier in concept than in actuality. So as you're writing them, just to let it feel natural, keep it simple, use simple language, and just make sure that each cover letter introduces you in a way that gets them to want to learn more. And so just like I said earlier, just like when you are out at the store and you're buying a book and you open up to the front page and they have the brief description, you want your description to be strong enough and succinct enough that they can read it quickly and say to the group, we want to buy this book, we want to hire this person. And that is the ultimate goal of a good cover letter, is to get you an interview and to get you hired. So thank you again for listening. My name is Greg Brightbill, always happy to share with you some of this information. And I hope you now are comfortable enough submitting a cover letter to every job you apply from here on. Thanks again.